So in this video, we're going to wrap up our projectile prefab by getting some audio brought in and applying that audio to the prefab in such a way that when the prefab, the projectile in this case, is instantiated, it's going to make the sound. What sounds is that?
Like a pew-pew.
Like a pew-pew sound.
Lasers.
Right. Now, the creation of audio effects are outside the scope of this video series.
I was just bummed you didn't ask me to just like sample some myself.
Well, there's all sorts of ways that you can go about creating your own special effects. And, of course, there's a lot of places online in which you can download some free ones that have been created. If you take a look at Mr. Casey Jones's videos that he created showing how to put the same game together using JavaScript, he spends a few minutes talking about a really cool app that's been created by somebody on the internet that allows you to make those old 1980s style arcade sounds.
Oh, cool.
So if you'd like to take a look at his video, I'm not going to steal that away from him for the simple fact that he does an excellent job and there's no reason to really repeat it here.
Sure.
But anyways, again, there's so many ways that you can go about getting your own audio. Now, getting the audio in is extremely simple. Let's keep everything organized. The first thing I want to do in my project is come down here and create a folder. Didn't see that coming, did you, Zach?
No, I didn't.
And then
you're going to call it audio.
Let's call it sounds.
Okay,
just because you stole audio away from me. Right?
Stole your thunder.
Now what I need to do is bring my WAV files in. So it's very simple. I'm going to grab a WAV file that I have off screen here and just drag and drop. Look, that easy. We've now imported it.
Yay.
And then I'm going to grab my laser sound and I'm going to bring it in as well. So just two standard WAV files. They've now been brought in. And as we've seen before, if we click on these audio clips over in the inspector, we get a preview window in which we can play and etc.
Okay.
So we've got this guy in. Very good. The next thing that we want to do is set up our prefab so that it will play this sound when the prefab is instantiated. So how do we go about doing that? Well, first of all, while the prefab is a special data template for this game object with a bunch of components that have been attached, in the end, we can still look at it as simply a game object. And with that being the case, I can continue working with it right here in my project panel as if it's just a regular game object. So with our projectile prefab selected, all I need to do is come up here to component, come down to audio, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach an audio source to it. And the audio source is going to allow us to assign a sound to the audio clip that the source will play.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and add this in. So we've now added in an audio source. You can see the component right here. Now, with this, let's bring our attention down here to the audio clip. None assigned at the moment, but we happen to have brought some in. So all I need to do is grab laser 1, drag and drop it over here. It's now set up, ready to go. And you'll notice our next property is play on awake. What this means is that when this prefab is instantiated, this sound will just automatically play.
Okay.
So very convenient.
We'll get a little laser sound.
So we'll get a little laser sound.
Anything else?
So, no, would you believe that's pretty much it?
Wow.
See, off video, I told Zach that we were finally looking at a short video.
I didn't believe it.
Sure enough, here we are with a short video. Now I'm going to reach over and grab my headphones because I do not have audio being injected back into the sound system right now, but this will perhaps let us hear something. So if I hit play, without changing anything else, we can hear it. So we now have audio being played every time we fire our projectile. And that audio
does sound like a very particular
pew sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound very familiar. Like an old 80s style arcade game. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So what game comes to mind?
Galaga.
Galaga?
Yeah.
It sounds just like that. But the sound was created with one of these sound effects applications.
I got you.
There's so many of those online, but looking well. And also, just want to point this out, with our audio source being created as a component, of course, on the game object, if we take a look back here, you can, well, let's not jump up there. Let's bring our focus back down here. You can see when I fire out a projectile, you can see the audio source with a speaker on it.
Nice.
Okay? So, and in the future, we'll spend a little bit more time talking about some of the things we can do with audio sources. I mean, you can see right now with the properties, some of the standard things we can do. But we start talking about audio sources, you'll get to a point where you need to start talking about listeners, and then there's some interesting things that you can do. But we'll get to those things in some more advanced videos later. So that is going to wrap up this video. Coming up in the next video, we need to go ahead and start working with an enemy because we need an enemy to destroy.
Sure.
And of course, when we start working with that enemy, we will need to create a script for it so that the enemy is, well, controlled. Now, to do that, I'm going to take a moment and show you guys how we can create a custom template in Visual Studio. So in the next video, we are going to take a quick break away so that we can do that.
Okay.
And then we'll pick things back up again with our game and continue on with the enemy. So that is going to wrap up this video. Thanks a lot.